Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Workplace Navigation Podcast. I'm Mike Sanders, your host. This podcast is focused on presenting creative solutions to typical problems the workforce experiences. You know, Everett Souders once wrote a book way back in 1989 entitled The Unnatural Act of Management. An accomplished business consultant, he described management as producing results through others. He framed the challenge of getting people to collectively produce value as an unnatural act. After presenting over 100 presentations on management at symposiums and conferences nationwide, my conclusion is the workforce is a genius at solving management problems and management itself. So this podcast is dedicated to uncovering the brilliance of our workforce, to engage the workplace as an organism that can be enriching, healthy, and even transforming. So let's bring in our featured guest today. Hello, Marylynn Magill. Thank
Hello,
you for joining
Michael. How
our
are you?
thank you for joining our workplace navigation podcast today. Appreciate it. Before
Thank
we
you
get
for having me.
started, why don't you tell us a bit about your career, your progression, your education, training, and what got you to where you are as a technical writer? Go ahead.
Well, we don't have all day, so just briefly, I am from a world far away and a time long ago, and I've been to the East Coast and I've been to the West Coast, and I come from the middle of nowhere, the Midwest. So, the Midwest in the 50s is where I grew up on a farm, and my school had 96 kids in high school, and there were 12 girls and 12 boys in my school. So that is the amazing education I've got. Basically, we couldn't get away with a lot, but you know, we were not exposed to the big world, so to speak. So
How,
yeah.
how about your
But
college and training and so on? What about that?
I went on to junior college and met somebody and moved to the East Coast and then got divorced on the East Coast. So I was lucky enough that when my family had moved to a larger city, and I was best friends with a girl whose father ran for Congress. So he was a congressman. So when I was on the East Coast, I got a job in the Department of Interior and congressional liaison. So I have a lot of different experiences to relate.
Mhm.
Um, I went from congressional liaison to a lobbyist activity for lobbying for it was the agricultural aviation representatives, so crop dusters. So, and then I found out that they still had winter on the East Coast, and I found out that it was an optional thing. So if you moved west into the sunshine, you didn't have to do winter anymore. So I was off and running. And so
Yeah.
California, here I come.
So you've been at a lot, you've worked at a lot of companies as a technical writer, correct?
Yeah, the industries that I've been in are, let's see, the government, lobbyist, advertising agency, aerospace, utilities, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, and health plans.
But other
So
than that, not much.
we're not talking about the Dairy Queen that I flunked out
Yeah.
of or any of that sort
So
of thing.
you have a wide variety. I love this. You have a wide variety of experience in many industries as a technical writer and a communicator, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes.
So you've run into some situations, and I know you wanted to talk about one today. What issue did you want to talk about that you faced today that was particularly, you know, something you wanted to focus on?
Well, what I want to communicate to the audience is that no matter where you are, human nature is pretty much the same.
Hmm.
And if you need something, which technical writers need information. So I am a firm believer in bribery, and meetings with cookies and goodies and a desk with a big candy jar. And it's amazing how much you gain from that little contribution, because my basic feeling about being a technical writer is that you have to listen to everything. And this is where AI cannot replace us totally, because some of my biggest gains were because I understood what was going on in the company. And I solved several fairly large problems just by understanding what was going on. And by the things that I wrote and put down on paper, I could make things happen or bring about change or educate different factions as to what they were doing and how this change would affect them. Let me elaborate a little bit. This was a pharmaceutical company, and there was a problem with the engineering group wanted to design and create, which is, yeah, their job, but they felt that the facilities engineers and group were too lowly, that they did not have to share that any of the new plans with them, that they shouldn't be included in the planning of new facilities. When the facilities guys finally got this project, they'd find out things like, well, you know, the drain was in the wrong place, the electrical outlet was in the wrong place, the piece of equipment was too close to the wall, nobody could sweep behind it. Things like that that are very essential, because in the pharmaceutical industry, things have to be clean. I mean, more than clean. Sanitary. You can't mess around with that sort of thing. So I was hearing things about this, and it was becoming a really big conflict between these two groups, the facilities group and engineering. And engineering was kind of like, yeah, well, we did our part, it's up to you now. It's on your budget, it's on your, list of things to do. So I wrote a document that was everything has to go to through quality and be looked at, gone through with a fine tooth comb when you're in pharmaceuticals. And this document pretty much outlined everything that facilities was responsible for. And it was a lot more than anybody thought. They didn't just mow the grass and pick up the trash. They were responsible for everything that went on in clean rooms, the differential air pressure, the microbe counting, all these things that they had to do, the cleaning. There has to be a specific procedure for cleaning. You don't just go clean the wall. You have to have a procedure for that, because it's like one time, one direction, fold the cloth over, have a specific solution. Things like that most people don't pay any attention to. It's not their job. So by educating the quality people as to what exactly was at stake, and the fact that cleaning was so important and cleaning was the responsibility of facilities, that they should be included in the planning of a layout of a clean room or a manufacturing thing. I mean, one pill machine can be several tons. So
So
it's
would you
not
say
like you can just.
the so would you say the problem that you faced was the lack of an engineering group to share critical information with other stakeholders that would
They weren't allowing other groups to be stakeholders. They weren't allowing them to have a
okay, I
say.
see. Yeah, okay.
So
So yeah, okay. So what solution the solution that you came up with that is you provided that information. You seeded the other
right,
stakeholders with information.
I made it very apparent that they had to provide cleaning solutions. They had to plan, make plans with engineering. Rooms should be designed to include all of
Hmm.
their cleaning needs and efficiency for keeping them clean and sanitary. So
Okay.
that
So when you
that woke
go,
quality up, and they said,
the
okay, well, no more, throwing the dead cat over the fence, so to speak.
I hear you. So, what happened after you did that? Did you see an improvement? Did everybody like
Oh,
it? What was the
dramatic,
effect? Yes.
dramatic.
How did you see
Quality
that?
stepped in and said, okay, from now on, facilities is to be included in all and any plans for changes and new rooms. So they educated engineering and settled that major issue.
I'm just curious,
And
with the engineering group, how did they receive this information? Did they think differently about planning in the future themselves?
I think they were educated. I don't think that they had really considered that
Mhm.
as something that they needed to plan for.
So if we
But
were going to summarize what you just said in terms of, Mary Lynn's rule number 1687, would we say that when a group of stakeholders that control the information and don't share it with other stakeholders that need the information, it would be a good idea to step in and make sure that that information is disseminated in some way. You did it through technical writing. It could also be done through team meetings, as a leader or other ways,
Mhm.
but it's important that all stakeholders be involved, key stakeholders be involved in planning for an outcome. In order for the outcome to be holistic, for it to be a complete solution. Otherwise, it's inefficient and it will cost you. It will cost you in poor quality. Am I correct?
Right, right. And quality is everything in pharmaceuticals.
Okay. So
So,
this is really about stakeholder management, I think.
mhm.
Because these folks were stakeholders, but they weren't treated as stakeholders.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were bag holders because, the problem was
Yeah. I see.
they were
Yeah.
going to end up with the problem, and they didn't
Yeah.
create the problem, and it didn't even have to be a problem if they had
Yeah.
been there at the right time. So
Okay.
basically,
Okay.
I'm trying to say, don't stay in your silo too much. Be aware of things going on around you so that you might be able to identify a problem and solve it
Yes.
just by educating
Yes.
people or people in positions that can make changes.
Yeah. So
So,
we've talked in the past, Mary Lynn, about working in organizations, and I shared with you my golden rule, and my golden rule is lower the bar. But did you have some other bullet points you wanted to bring up just quickly
yeah,
before we end?
I guess one of my golden rules is look for their motivation. Understand that people have lives, people have insecurities, fears. Try to say, okay, is this person not cooperating because they don't really think that they're able or their information is good? That's when I become like the extremely helpful technical writer. And instead of beating them up about it,
Mhm.
I I tell them, we'll do this together. I will help you. I'll start this for you. And that's another one of my golden rules, that people get started a lot faster by correcting your work than by just starting on their own. So,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
I like, throw something out there, good, bad, or ugly, just so that they've got something. Oh, well,
That's
no,
a
this is not right.
That's a great rule because I was a technical writer too before I was a project manager, program manager, and I found that when people would not come forth with information that I needed as subject matter experts, I would invent things and throw it out there, and they
Right.
would be so incensed about it they would address it and correct it, and that's how we got started. We've talked about this though in the past. It's a great tool that use. I love that rule. Yeah. Any
Oh,
other rules you'd like
yes.
to share? Any other?
Yes. Oh, well, let's see. Um, yes. If buckle up.
Uh,
These are my thoughts, my bullet points. Okay, so don't waste your time or anyone else's. This applies to unnecessary or long meetings or being in the wrong job or function.
mhm.
So there are jobs I wish I'd left sooner. There are ways to change the function of your job if you're looking, if you get roadblocked one place, maybe you can go in a
Mhm.
different direction. And I also hate meetings that are there for absolutely no reason, that nothing
Mhm.
gets determined. So that was one thing. I always had a really good response to my meeting invites because I did a lot of baking
Mhm.
and the people would show up hungry. Have a few cookies and feel better about themselves and then be more able to share. But I didn't waste people's time. There was
Mhm.
only going to be a meeting if there was a real reason for it and I needed information. And if I got the information, everybody was, let out,
Mhm.
go frolic wherever they needed to.
What
So
else you got? What else you got?
go where others fear to go. Startups can be fun, even if scary. There are fewer critics if there was nothing there previously.
Mhm.
I've really enjoyed myself because I tend to, I think, be a single technical writer, mainly because, things are starting up. It's brand new. We don't have anything, which I go, all right, yay.
Mhm.
Because,
Mhm.
you don't have someone saying that, oh, well, that's wrong or that's the way we always did it because nobody did it before.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I've been in a lot of starts, even the start of a small project. It's like I will volunteer for something like that. I'm all over it. Like, okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Mhm.
If nothing's there, I'll be happy
Mhm.
to start something or do something. Even if there was a task that was necessary in another pharmaceutical position, the a lot of this facility was being sent to Ireland and they needed copies of all the documents. And no one was available to copy like an entire file cabinet of these important documents. And it was becoming a real issue in the project. And I figured I get paid by the hour. I'm not going to quibble. I need to get it done. And I've done that several times. I'll go do something that's really not in my job description just to get the blockade
Mhm.
out of
Mhm.
there. So yeah, if there's a blockade or a blockage, don't be afraid to
Yeah.
get your feet wet.
Mhm.
Jump
Yeah.
in the pond with the
Yeah.
beavers, whatever. But yeah, I did. I went and I just copied nonstop for days just to get it over and done with.
Mhm.
And, it was a big deal. It wasn't a big deal
Mhm.
to me, but it was a big deal.
Mhm.
Big manager from
Yeah.
Ireland came over and was, oh, yes, yes. I didn't have a problem with any of it, especially because I really enjoyed these
Mhm.
folks and
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought they were
So,
they were hoot.
so you know what I'm thinking, Mary Lynn, is why don't we do this again? And why don't we go over some more, a boatload of your rules? Because you've got some great experience. And what I want folks to get out of this podcast is your stakeholder rule, the stakeholder issue that you
Mhm.
run into. I think that's so critical. I run into it. I think it's steamrolled a lot of project downward because of lack of stakeholder management. And I know that the PMI, the Project Management Institute, focuses on stakeholder management like they haven't before, never before, because it's so critical. And one thing that I want to point out, and maybe you've run into this too with regard to stakeholders, is many times stakeholders are not even identified at the beginning of a project properly. All this, and a
Right.
stakeholder can come into your project at the 11th hour that you didn't know about and just bring it to a halt
Oh,
because it was
oh
critical
yes.
stakeholder. So stakeholder management, I think, is what you were focusing on earlier, and I think that's so critical. And why don't we reiterate your rule there that it's important to notify all the critical stakeholders because they will mean the difference between a value add and a value not add in the end, a successful project and an unsuccessful project. And so I think that's so important. And leaders need to make sure that their projects are being directed toward all stakeholders. And stakeholder management is such a key. We talk about resource management and project management, so important. Stakeholder management, key, a key thing, because if you don't know who you're serving, your project isn't going to be successful to the wider, broader audience of your project who's receiving value from it. So anyway, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast today. And before we close, how can people get in touch with you if they want to talk with you more about some of the stuff that you brought up or collaborate with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, not really frequently, but I have an email of GILLMA11 @earthlink.net.
Okay. And what's your LinkedIn name if they want to get you on LinkedIn? Do you remember that? Mary Lynn. Mary Lynn. Okay.
Try
Well,
that. Try my
yeah.
name.
Okay. So they can get in touch with you through email. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much, Mary Lynn, for coming on today.
Okay.
And we want to have you back again.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
I'm
You're
sorry.
great.
I think I babbled a lot, but it's so good to
No,
see you again.
same here.
Take
Take
good care
care.
of yourself.
Bye-bye.